Thursday, 7:15, July 15th, Thursday after lunch, 90 something degrees out. Wanted to Wiggle here. Wanted to update or just share my project for those permaculture, non-traditional agriculture, horticulture types gardeners. You'll probably like this video. So I have a polyculture here. There's a number of plants in one place to work together, kind of like the Three Sisters idea. Corn, beans, and squash, but mine's a little different. One of the main things about what I was trying to do is to get structure for my cucumbers and tomatoes. Oh, one trick I wanted to show you. Get these cinder block caps to put them under your gates. They're the best thing. They keep stuff from tunneling under, and they hold the water back to stop erosion and so forth. Since you're walking through here, it's always going to be beat down a little bit. So that's the best thing. I used to put logs and stuff. They always rot out. They're not even, and there's just places for things to tunnel under. Anyway, that's a side note. So I built these trellises. Where you see my pathways is where the water runs. So I have hills and valleys. Water runs through here. So put the trellises so we can walk through. I could have just stretched the wire across from panel to panel or post to post, and that would have worked, but then we would have to be ducking under there if you were moving a wheelbarrow or doing whatever. It's going to be a pain. So walking through this arch is nice. It's practical and it's aesthetically, hopefully, pleasing. So I put in a wire cable, and as soon as these sunflowers just get a little bit taller, we'll strap them on to use the grape, that rubber grape string, and tie them on there. These sunflowers get such huge heads on them, and they'll like to fall over, and our dirt is kind of loose generally. So they grow really rapidly, but they don't really ever get a firm hold on anything, in the wind will just knock them over with those big giant heads. So these wires will help tremendously, and these stalks, they get huge. So they're really great structure. And I'll just string up my tomatoes, kind of greenhouse style, central vine type thing. And I'll just throw the cucumbers up wherever they want to go for the time being until they die out from pests. So I have a basil, lettuce leaf basil under there. Some other varieties of basil. I got some holy basil there. Just regular basil. Got Thai basil. Ragweed there. I'm just going to walk through here and show you. I'm going to walk. This is the way. This main part here with the big gate. This is my water catchment. So hopefully get a good rain. Will stop a lot of water here. And that water will flow under this arch. And I've redesigned this over here. My walkway used to go right down that row. But I'm going to change it and put my walkway here just because of the trellis. Just the strength of it, the stability of it. It's just better closer to the fence. So I'm just going to dig out some of this dirt. Just going to change, put the bed in there. Shouldn't affect the water flow too bad if I do it right. And you'll notice I went from over here, the 4-post arrangement. I went ahead and went with 3. Less material, and it seems to be a little stronger with less material when it's more of like a tripod. So here's one of my arches coming through. Now I only have tomatoes in these rows nearest the main path coming in. Then the rest is just cucumbers and sunflowers. So that one's ready to tie. But I also have sweet potatoes to fill in after these cucumbers die from all the pests. Instead of putting poison on my food, I'll just let it do its thing, and we'll harvest what we can when we can, and then when it dies, we'll try to prevent it. I mean, it looks like something might have already got to that one. So anyway, the sweet potatoes should be there long after. We got cukes to pick right there. Anyway, here's another one. I let my teenage boys, I built the first one with them and then let them do their own thing. So they kind of got busy in their own way. Here's the top of the garden. We moved this dirt. This was what I scraped out of here when I put this garden in. We put this in to divert the water down into the garden from the street. And that carpet and cardboard is there just because I have poison ivy growing all through that ditch, so we're just choking that stuff out. So, the sweet potatoes will eventually overtake the cucumbers. Also encouraging the cucumbers to grow on the fence where I can, if they make it that long. And, I ran out of long enough pieces of this cable, wire rope, so I got to get some of those little U-bolt, the little thimble things. I haven't been using those, but I need them to make the rest of my wire work. I've got to stretch one piece of wire across there and then one from here, right here. And this is a lot narrower part of the bed. But I have enough wire to do it. I just need a few pieces of hardware. I'll show you my hardware on this. There's a brick tie. I just wrapped it around, and I mean, it's going to hold. It's going to hold the... And then we just use deck screws to put this together. Can't really see it. We just put a single deck screw through these pieces. We screw together our gussets. So this is these crosses, they didn't cross this one enough. This should have crossed up to here, from this down to here, instead of just crossing in the middle like they did. It'll probably be all right. More like that one over there. So we just used deck screws. I was using Phillips head screws. I wouldn't recommend those unless you're really good at putting in screws, because it's just, you're fighting your way through the cedar, and it's not easy to do. So I'm gonna pause it. I wanted to show you how I attach to the fence. It's brick ties. Just cut them into little pieces. They're galvanized. So I just I just drill a hole in there. I use a self-tapping screw, like a lath screw. It's a Phillips drive. I use that as a drill bit, and you can get a lot of holes out of one, so you're not ruining good drill bits. So I just zip it through there, take it out, and then put a regular... This is an outdoor drywall screw, basically. It's a coated drywall screw. It's got coarse wood threads too. But basically, if you look for those, they look just like drywall screws. They're just a different color. Those are pretty affordable to use. Those are the only 1 1/4" or whatever. Those are fine for this. Pretty strong. And then I would just drive a screw in. This is, I was using Phillips. But just drive your screws into any wood post you do have, and it's sturdy enough. And there's my wires. You can see them shaking. So this is strong enough to do what it needs to do. A lot of the strength comes from the sunflower stalks as well. And I'll train those cucumbers. I'll show you when I string them up. I'll do a video. So I just wanted to share this project with you. Let you see our cucumber patch, basically. And tomatoes are coming on. This, if you want to go back and see, this was like 6 weeks ago, maybe 8 weeks. I think like 6 weeks ago. This was just a weedy patch in the garden. Hadn't been tended to. I was actually just grazing it. So I scraped it off, put in these beds. So you can look back in my videos and see that if you're interested.